What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Double Tech. It's your boy Dave here with Q, and
What's
we have
going
some
on?
news, bro. We have some breaking news within the last hour. We're hearing from Adam Schefter that the GOAT quarterback Tom Brady is announcing his retirement after 22 seasons and 7 championships. Out of the playoffs now. The end of the season is not here yet, but we have an answer from Brady that he will not be returning to Tampa, hanging up the cleats. It's a sad day. Like, what are your thoughts, man?
It's the best 22 seasons we've seen from any quarterback ever. And we just gonna put that out there.
Must agree. I used to be a hater. I used to be a Brady hater.
You got to respect the game, though, right? We talk about this, and I want to bring a good point to this. I was talking to some people yesterday, right? And we got to talking about Brady and Rodgers and a lot of these guys. And people were talking about arm talent, and they were telling me about how Rodgers is a better arm talent and all this, that, and third, right? And I brought up a good point to them. I said, y'all forget, I don't know if y'all was around to watch when Brady really took over the helm. He was that man throwing a needle through a haystack before we knew you could do things like who he was doing, right? You remember those days. Young Brady, when he was doing a lot of those things. And I said, the man is so good that at this age, we're comparing guys that you think are part of his era, and they're not really part of his generation or his era. And they're so much younger than he is. And you're comparing their arm talent because he is still competitive at that age. And this is something that we've seen that it's going to transcend for generations. This man owned the league 22 seasons, and he spent 10 of them in the Super Bowl. Anytime they make a stat line and they be like, the last blah, blah, blah Super Bowls contain these 4 quarterbacks. Most of that stat is Tom fucking Brady.
Yeah, he a walking dynasty, man.
Yes, sir.
And all right, I in the height of his career, I was a hater, like I said, especially
you got to be, you ain't getting great if you ain't getting hate.
Versus Peyton, right? Which one of the interesting things I always felt was that Peyton never had the coaching staff that Brady did in terms of like having Belichick on the defense, right? But he had everything that he could ever possibly desire as an offensive mind. They were constantly drafting for him. Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark. Brady was getting it done out the mud with David Gibbons, Troy Brown, and David Patton, and who else? Deion Branch.
And if you look, when they did go get him some super talent, they lost in the Super Bowl.
They lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants, but also he broke every record.
He showed what he could do with somebody. It was that lethal. Yeah.
And that was with Randy and Wes Welker, prior to even getting Edelman, who may be his best playoff receiver. This was all things that were done before he even ever had Edelman on the team, before Gronk was even a thing. Like, it's unreal to imagine. One thing you brought up about arm talent is that arm talent is a huge key factor of Tom Brady's game. It's just not looked at in the same way because with Rodgers, we all are allured by the back shoulder 50-yard bomb on the sideline.
Or the Hail Mary at the end of the game, which why is that Hail Mary required, right?
Those are beautiful throws, yes. But what makes Brady Brady and what has changed him from the staple of the game is the purest form of arm talent, which is medium velocity.
Yes.
Ain't nobody in the league throwing that thing harder 15 yards down the field. We're not saying he has to throw 20, 30-yard strikes. But when I need to pinpoint accurately, get that thing in between 2 defenders, have to hit you right in the numbers. Brady did that.
It's a first down machine, and it's very underrated, right?
Yeah.
That's a first down machine because, the game's not – it's about touchdowns, but it's not just about touchdowns. It's how you get them. Like if you're scoring in 4 plays or going 3 and out, that's not a good game for your defense. Ultimately, you're going to come down to a shootout, 50 to 50, and then the other team comes out and wins one because your defense is gassed, right?
That's exactly what happened to the Bills this week.
Yes, and you look at these things and you go, man, like that man, he changed the game. I think the time is now, which is a good decision for him. We're officially beginning the real era of the dual threat quarterback.
Sure. Agreed.
Even everybody. And it's not just, look, I just want to put this out there for my folks. And it's not just the black quarterbacks no more. The white boys getting busy too. Shout out to Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? So once you start seeing the white boys going out like that, and I don't mean this in no harmful way, the league has changed. The requirements have changed. And bless Tom Brady for everything he's done for this league. As a Giants fan, I have no bitter heart to him. We've handled business, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, you're one of the only ones that can say that, man.
Right.
One of the only ones.
So, an amazing, illustrious career, and it opens up questions for us, right? Who's the new king?
Well, right now, I don't think you can put it past Pat Mahomes, because since he's been the starter, they have hosted the championship game or been a part of the championship game every single year, right? So that has got to put Patrick Mahomes number one. And Brady did what he needed to do to beat him too. He will always, and not giving him a chance to beat me is kind of funny to me.
Do you think that like maybe that was the scheme for Brady though? It's like, I'm staying to show y'all I have to beat this guy one time.
I have to at least beat Mahomes, yes. I felt like it was paramount that he felt like he beat Mahomes. There's not other quarterbacks I think that he's holding in that regard, because there's very few that are coming for GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Every that's in the league now is not coming for GOAT. They're coming for, man, can you win a Super Bowl? Can you do this for our team? But I wanted to mention, man, the new king on the block, the guy going for the Super Bowl, the big dog, Matthew Stafford, knocked Brady out of the playoffs, and not because the Rams beat the Bucs. No, during the Rams game, you had multiple fumbles by Cam Akers. Cooper Kupp dropped the ball. The center tried to throw the ball over Stafford's head. Multiple issues with the defense, including Ramsey getting burnt one-on-one. So the Rams did possibly could do to lose the game, to make it Stafford go beat Brady. And you gave him only 43 seconds and he went and did it.
I mean, he did it. He got it done. And I mean, it's very respectable. I get what you're saying. Stafford ain't the king right now, but you know what I'm saying? We'll see if Stafford, it would be something to see though, right? Stafford goes to the Super Bowl and pulls it off and says, I see you, young fella, but you ain't seen me with talent like this. Like, and he just, he does what he does.
As well, because like with their upcoming game, when they have San Francisco, it's more so the Rams can't beat San Francisco. It's not about Stafford, right? Yeah. The team is 0-2 against San Francisco, and they've been getting out physical. They've been running the ball all over them. Rams have to show up. That's what we need to happen if we want to see Stafford versus Mahomes. Yes. But this is not really Stafford's game to win, right? The whole team is around that. He had to beat Brady. That's what you were traded for. That was the only purpose for you coming to LA, and then for you to
beat Tampa.
In that kind of fashion.
And I'm gonna be honest here. I just gotta say this out loud because nobody will admit it. The entire NFC was looking for Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams to beat Tom Brady. I don't think a team in the NFC besides the Rams wanted any function or game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Tom Brady on the field. And they looked toward Matt Stafford as, go, please do this for us.
Cowboys fans had delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, they did, but we know how that goes.
They thought that they could.
You can't be a Cowboys fan if you're not delusional, rocking dirty Air Force Ones and a busted up hoodie and looking homeless. You know they hopeless. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, but that's only if they got that blue jersey with the stars on the joint.
You know what we talking about.
Yeah. That's not the official tissue white ones. So, yeah, that's how they get down, and Brady, to have the opportunity to close it out on a victory and then to lose in a fashion where it wasn't him losing, right? I think that's another interesting part about if Brady has to end it on a high note. I think he can live with the fact that my defense didn't do it. It's not that I came up short in the final drive. It's not that I didn't feel
he brought it back.
He did, and he showed that at this moment he is still top tier elite quarterback. And I think Brady always wanted to leave while he was still an elite quarterback. Not while he had the to rely on the players around him in order to be successful. I want to bring up one of the hilarious things about Brady. They were asking Leonard Fournette, like, Brady be talking shit. He's a whole different guy in Tampa, right? He's running his mouth and all that. So they asked him, like, what's one of his best insults? And he was telling Antoine Winfield in practice, like, I play with your dad. Ask your dad about me. Ask your daddy about me.
Ask your daddy about me.
The fact that you can say that as an NFL quarterback is unreal. Can't even believe it.
His career is just unrealistic. I mean, let's be real here. Yeah, and that's why we talk about this GOAT conversation, even when we bring up Mahomes and a lot of different aspects. Like, it's not just what he did, it's how he did it. Like, I could see a guy come up with just as many rings as Brady if they figure out some way with the Chiefs, whatever, maybe Mahomes, but it's still the way he did it. Most of those rings, there was no Tyreek Hill. There was no, I mean, obviously he had Gronk, he has Travis Kelce, but it was like, the weapons, we call them this great. A lot of those weapons we call this great because they got to play with him. You look at Gronk in Tampa, I'm sorry, that man ain't running no clean, crispy routes or nothing like that. He ain't catching and mossing on nobody. He's not doing anything special. He just knows where Tom Brady wants him to go, and he catches the ball from Tom Brady.
Precisely. Hey, they asked him about that. They were like, Gronk, are you watching tape? And he said, no, I just do what Brady, like Brady watches the tape for both of us. Yeah. I just do what he tells me to do.
He tells me to do.
Simple as that.
I don't got to jump high. I don't got to be extra fast. I just got to be. Brady loves Gronk because he follows directions.
Just do what I fucking tell you to do. And he did. And I mean, with somebody like Randy Moss, all right, to have Randy Moss is an elite receiver, but he also has a big personality. And to be able to earn his respect and rein him in, right? Randy Moss is one of the few people to make Belichick laugh. Like, it's not like Randy Moss is an asshole. It's just that he knows how great he
knows he's the best receiver to ever touch the game. I
require you to be the best at your job. Otherwise, what are we doing here, right?
Yep.
They went 16-1 with Dante Culpepper. Yep. So he had no surprise that we went 16-0 with Brady. Yep. This isn't new to me.
Anything less would have been crazy.
Anything less would have been crazy to Randy Moss. It was all crazy to us that it even happened. But, there was a time where he was still burning Revis on the Patriots. And was that because Randy was so much better? No, it's because it's Randy to Brady. Brady to Randy, like that kind of stuff. I just think when you look back at his gift to the game has been how he's evolved through so many different offenses and constantly reformed himself into a different player. No, the
game's changed around him for many years, and Brady has been Tom Brady.
Right. But it makes me kind of think about the Belichick thing. Like, what you learned from Belichick and watching his defenses are that the greatest strength you can have is no weaknesses.
Yes.
Right. So you mitigate all of our weaknesses. So we have guys that allow us to play 4-3, 3-4, nickel. Do we need to go 4 DBs? We're able to match up against any type of offense so that we can't be caught off guard. When you have Brady, we can tell you, we're going to play all spread this game. We need you to throw for 500 yards. In the very next game, you're only going to throw for 100 yards. So we're running the ball 30 times to beat this team. And there is no drop off in efficiency, regardless of his workload.
And it's underrated too, though. Like the fact that he is willing to back up some of his game. It wasn't a point to prove like I had to be the passing yards leader or nothing like that, right? It was, I need to win football games. And that's why when respect to Peyton Manning and a lot of great quarterbacks, when they have those conversations, I'm like, that's the part you guys don't get. Like, it's not just stats. And I think that's the point of this show. It's not just stats. It's about the little things, doing the right thing to win the game at the right time, and that's what we've seen from Tom Brady for a long time. And I mean, and then speaking on this, so we know, Brady's gone now. Like you said, weird announcement, and the timing of it is real funky. The Super Bowl's over. I'm not over yet. There's playoffs still going. Aaron Rodgers is looming in the air right now, and Tom Brady announced his retirement. It seemed kind of sketchy to me. It seems kind of sketchy to me.
Do you think that is kind of a bow out for Rodgers to have an opportunity with that team?
I don't know if they got each other's phone numbers, but John Wick Rodgers has been acting real Tom Brady-ish with his attitude lately, so I wouldn't be surprised.
So you see unvaccinated Florida, right, as his destination, like, oh, I'd rather go live in Florida or Texas.
Florida's perfect for him. Florida would embrace Aaron Rodgers, all his ideals, the way he feels about things in his game. The receivers are there. Obviously, Godwin comes on the free agency this year. Bringing Aaron Rodgers keeps him. If you do lose him, you got a shot at Adams. So it's a win-win for him. A defense that's already set in stone. It's not going to just come down to you every game. And you can go out there and win some football. And right now, let's be honest here, you got Sean Payton's retirement to talk about. The NFC South is drier than, one, just low key, you lose Tom Brady, they're now drier than the NFC East. Like,
absolutely agree. I mean, the Falcons don't have a defense as of right now. They have players,
Calvin really don't want to play there no more.
Then you have the whole situation with Carolina and how the quarterback has blown up, with Darnold or is it going to be a draft pick this year? And then, like you said, the Saints losing their coach. So it's an easy division to go piggyback take the championship and go all the way.
You know you're going to the playoffs playing in that division if you're Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
There's now no other team that is a better fit for Aaron Rodgers than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's crazy. They lose their quarterback and instantly become the favorite for the next great quarterback.
But that's too much pressure, man. You're putting too much pressure on Rodgers to now go follow in Brady's footsteps and try to be half of what he is to win a ring.
It'd be dumb to go somewhere else. But it would be dumb to go somewhere else. I mean, at this age, too, I don't know if all that matters to him, right? Like, at this age, you just play the game.
I don't know what matters to Rodgers, man.
Yeah, we don't know. You're right.
He's in a
You're right. But I don't know, man. I think him and Brady might have been on the line a little bit.
I can see it. Okay, that's interesting.
They might have been on the line a little bit. It's just so random. Like, right, on a Saturday, it's snowing where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? The sun's hitting, the snow's melting, and we get an update that we talking about Tom Brady's retired out of nowhere. It something ain't sitting with that. I think they had a little plan.
So we've honored like the career of Tom Brady and everything that he's been able to accomplish. We've talked a little bit about who's going to be the next quarterbacks, but let's talk about this season and kind of what led to the demise in the end of the Bucs. Do you think that the Antonio Brown situation affected Tom Brady's desire to come back?
I don't think so. He supported him, but I think after Antonio Brown's words on Tom Brady, after he was, taken away from the team, he felt some sort of way. At that point, I don't think Tom Brady's resting his career on his shoulders no more, right? Because he kind of disrespected him a little bit. He had some words
I'm not
for
saying
him.
Shoulders at AB, but what I kind of mean is like I could see his sour taste in his mouth in terms of like when you left Patriots. I left Patriots because I wasn't having fun, and things got too political with how Belichick was running the team.
It wasn't football.
I went to Tampa and it was just football until the Antonio Brown situation. And then it's not that anymore, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where he stood with it. He said he'd play the game till it ain't fun no more, right? And if that's obviously today was the day he decided it's not fun no more. Ironically, Antonio Brown situation happens. So you might be right. It could have something to do with it.
But maybe it's one of those things that's like the straw that broke the camel's back.
He's been playing long enough. He sees where this is going. The media outtake, the outbreak, the going crazy. Oh, y'all didn't win it because of the AB thing. It's a headache for him. And why at this point with your success, why be stressed out?
And it's also kind of convenient when you look at the age of the defenders that we're relying on, right? Like Jason Pierre-Paul was 9-0 in the playoffs. He's in his 30s and now they get a loss. Okay, well, I can expect him to come back better. So what do? And Ndamukong Suh, approaching 34, 35 years old. Are we going to be able to replace him as easily? So I think it becomes one of those things with Tom Brady where maybe he kind of saw the writing on the wall as we can be very good, but we're not a guaranteed chip, then I don't want to play.
Possibly. I mean, and with that team, though, I still see them being very good. They've got so many young pieces, too. We don't want to just highlight the age of the older guys, but I mean, you look at their best defensive players, young as shit. And they've got a type of team that you can kind of plug and play as long as they keep them to. Okay. So,
you think it's not about
I don't think it's about not being a guarantee, but like I said, if the game's not fun for me, I'm going to give it up. And like I can agree, maybe it is all the political side and all the stuff coming out right now. He's just like, I'll just go home with my kids and my wife, man. I'll go home with my fine ass wife and I'm gonna go hang out with my rich ass kids and then
and
go
this
home.
Way I like saying on the broadcast too. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were salty. They didn't get the whole thing, right? Didn't get the whole broadcast, but situation with Giselle may play in more than anything, right? Like how much of y'all's marriage has been sacrificed for Brady to be great?
Yes.
How much of your kids have been sacrificed for Brady to be great to the level that he is? Because it's an obsession.
It's an obsession. Yes. He's
I think quarterbacking for fun like Mahomes.
And that's the biggest part is it's eventually they do want to go be with their families. And I mean, as we're running out of time, I'll share the story to let you know why he's so great, but also why it might be time to hang it up because it is an obsession. I remember reading something. His best friend said that Tom Brady's always been the most lethal guy he knows ever since the day he got snubbed at Michigan on signing day. He sat across the end zone from another quarter. He took the starting spot. They had a black dual threat quarterback. They loved him. Tom Brady takes a starting spot. Nobody was happy about it. Signing day, that man had 0 fans come to his end zone to get signatures. Everybody went to the backups. That man said from that day forward, Tom Brady was emotional. He didn't like it. It broke his heart. He said from that day forward, he was the most lethal and locked in person he'd ever seen in his life. He said that he was refused to ever let somebody think they were better than him again. And then he moved fast forward. He said it became a problem to where like they could play the Chiefs in a game. If somebody sacks him and you give him some words like, yeah, get up. You ain't ready. He'll in that game, whether they win or lose, and he'll spend the rest of the season and off season watching film on that one player in order to be able to dismantle that man to a point of submission. That's what you get from Tom Brady.
That's why it's mentality.
Yes, and that's what you get, and that's why your family life might not be all that, and it might be time for him, and that's the greatness of Tom Brady.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything else to prove. I'm glad that he went on a high note with a championship away from Belichick, regardless of how this season ended. That's the story that we needed. Is Brady go prove it without Bill? He did that. He took his team of, we want to say there was star after star, but the people who scored touchdowns in that game were the ragtag group that followed Fournette, Antonio Brown.
Man, plenty of teams have had a margin of talent and still hasn't got it done. I don't want to hear none of that.
And that's Brady being ahead of the game in terms of controlling the game and its pace. He's like a point guard at quarterback, man. Like you said, what's the point in knowing I can score every time, but my defense comes out here huffing and puffing and we get scored on, right? Brady can deliberately manufacture a running game because of his accuracy, because of how intelligent he is and how he's seen everything before. And his one superpower, if I had to give Tom Brady one, is what you just said: elite focus. There is no one else that can be in the zone for 4 quarters like that guy. And he's the greatest of all time. So we hate to see him go, man. Thankful that we had the opportunity. Love him, hate him. Tom Brady is here. He was here. He will always be felt. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, first ballot.
That man's getting his jacket tomorrow.
We may never see this again.
Yes.
Not a 6th-round pick. The rags to riches, most American dream story you could tell.
It's over. It's amazing. I'm glad I was alive to watch it live. I don't have to look back on tapes. And it's the most amazing thing I've seen in football. And you guys, you let us know how you feel about it. Greatest career in my eyes. Make sure you guys watch the video a few times if you want. Let us know what you feel about Aaron Rodgers to the Bucs. Just give everything you got to Tom Brady and his family, and that's
shout out to all the rest of the quarterbacks in the league that are gunning for that spot and trying to fill his big shoes. If you ask us, we want to see Stafford and Mahomes this upcoming weekend. Who can really take that, the crown from Tom.
Who's the new king?
Yeah. So, all right, Double Tech fans, we'll catch you on the next one.